How's it going, guys? So, welcome back to what was formerly Buvalt's Bushcraft. Now I've changed the name to Catco Outdoors simply because I think it's a little more catchy, and I live in Cattaraugus County, New York, and this channel isn't always going to be about bushcraft. Sometimes it'll just be day hikes, getting outdoors, trying to convince people that, get outside. Find what you enjoy about nature. So I've taken a bit of time throughout the winter. I've had a lot of work, family things come up, and most importantly, my recording equipment, not the greatest. So when it came to the cold temperatures this winter here in western New York, a lot of the times my battery couldn't handle the cold temps. So, I'm getting back into it coming into spring, and we're going to start really getting after it. So I'm going to continue bushcraft series, a survival series, and from there we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. We're going to keep talking about all the different necessities, which brings me to my point today. This video is just going to be a simple day kit. So like for me, I have a haversack. I'm going to show you what I carry and what I consider to be the bare bones kit in my haversack. Okay, so what you're looking at is essentially what bare minimum means to me. Now that will change for various different people based on what they believe to be their bare essentials. But to me, this is what I would carry on a day hike in my haversack. Now let's go into detail on some of these. Okay, so what I have in front of me, like I said, is going to be what I carry with me if I go out for a day. Whether that be just to go out, track some animals, go out, have a bit of a camp set up where I have a fire. So let's talk about some of these items. This is just a pretty cheap space blanket or tarp that I keep with me. It's got the reflective side on the inside to trap heat, body heat, and to trap heat that's coming from your fire. That's important to me because if I were ever in a situation where I went too far, now it's getting dark, and I don't want to navigate my way back, and I need to hunker down for the night, that space blanket is a quick emergency shelter setup and a quick way to trap heat if it's cold, and it's something I can carry on me that's pretty compact, pretty small. So I try to carry this with me almost always. Moving on to the next item, I always carry a few different types of cutting tools. This one to me isn't a necessity, but I like to carry it on me for it has two different types of blades, one that's got a blunted edge and one that's got a fine skinning knife. Now during hunting season, this one is a go-to for me because if I get some small game, I can process that small game very easily with this knife. But going further, everything on this Swiss Army knife can do the same thing. So I would suggest a Swiss Army knife or a knife multi-tool function like this because it has more options on here. You've got saw, you've got cutting tool, you've got toothpick, plier, or tweezers in case you get ticks on you or you need to do some self-care. So this option, in my opinion, would be better. It's even got some scissors on it. Now, going into my main cutting tool, my work knife. This one can be found through the Pathfinder School or selfrelianceoutfitters.com, and I'm going to post a link in the description box below because I get a lot of my gear from those guys. The gear is reliable, the gear is durable, keeps a sharp edge. You can do a lot of work with these. This one in specific is the PKS Scorpion. So I carry this for various reasons. One, to be able to baton down through a piece of wood. It can do fine carving, but so can the SAK. You can make a lot of notches with this. You can use this, because it's high carbon steel, as a fire implement using chert, which we have in the United States, or maybe in a European country, flint, but we have mostly chert. You can strike the back edge of your knife to create a spark. So this is a good option for me to carry with me. Now, moving on, I also carry this guy. This is called a Baco Laplander. You can get it through various sites. Obviously, I purchased mine through Self-Reliance Outfitters because, like I said, I get a lot of gear from those guys. But this, you know, you have a saw on your SAK. However, this saw, you can cut much bigger options faster. And it's super compact. Again, something I can fit into my pack and have no problem carrying around. And pack being, today, my haversack. Now, moving on to fire tools, fire implements. So, I know this is a bushcraft channel. However, one of the things to remember is, yes, I carry a ferro rod. But if I don't have to use this ferro rod and waste this resource, then I'm not going to. So I also carry in this kit 2 Bic lighters. Because these guys obviously will start a fire much easier than having to make a tinder bundle and process it down and use my ferro rod, and then I don't have to waste this resource. This is a good emergency resource in case you don't have Bic lighters. So yes, I carry 2 Bic lighters on me pretty much all the time. And a little trick, which I might do another video on, not going to do it today, but you can revive these even if they're wet. Because you can even find them laying on the ground in the woods, and you'll still be able to revive them. Talking about fire and resources, I've mentioned before punkwood or char material that you can create by superheating punkwood or rotten wood that's spongy. You superheat it in a container and it becomes char material, which will take a spark. It'll take a spark from even just chert, striking chert off the back of your knife. But ferro rod, take a spark, no problem. This stuff is an amazing resource to always make when you're making fires. Because if you have this on your person, your next fire mentality, you can carry that through. So I always carry a container that I can close up and superheat in the fire. And I'll just put all that punky wood inside of this, and then I'll throw it in my fire, wait 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it takes to char this material, pull this out, and I'm able to then use that material for later use. So any container that closes up, it's okay to have a little a little hole in it. A little bit of oxygen's okay, but the idea behind making the char material, which I've covered in a previous video, is that you want to cut most of the oxygen out. You're superheating that material without letting it flame up, letting it actually burn the material down. So this is an option. Now, that being said, moving on to my next item, my canteen and nesting cup. It will serve the same purpose as this, simply by removing this cap, taking my nesting cup with my material, my rotten wood, punk wood, on the inside, and covering the cup, and then placing that in the coals. So this will it will serve the same purpose. You don't have to have an extra container if you've got a good canteen and nesting cup. This is also an item I got on the Self-Reliance Outfitters page. Very good canteen, single wall canteen, able to be put in the fire, boil water, make punk wood. Many uses for this guy, and you can see I've used the crap out of these things. So it is durable, it's good stuff to get. And again, I'll post the link in the description below in case you guys are interested in getting some of this gear. You can get them through other websites. I'm just saying, I've tested this stuff and it works great. All right, moving on. So fire. Let's talk Gorilla Tape. Again, bushcraft channel. However, let's talk about making things easier for you so that you don't have to replicate items off the landscape. So instead of making or having to collect a bunch of resources, most people know Gorilla Tape or duct tape is pretty flammable. If you roll this stuff up into a little ball, it burns for a while, and it's good to get fire going. So if you've got your fire lay and you roll up a piece of this, it's basically going to be like a wick feeding into your fire. So Gorilla Tape. Now there's also another use for this. This can be used for patchwork on clothing. Say you rip some clothing, you can actually patch it up with this pretty well, and you can make cordage out of this, and it's pretty strong stuff. So I try to always carry some Gorilla Tape, make my life easier. The idea is to make it as smooth as possible if you do get into a situation, and carrying these bare bone essential stuff, and some may not require this or say this is going to be an essential item, which maybe not, but it'll make it so you can reserve your energy for later, next fire mentality, and get a fire going real easy. So I carry Gorilla Tape. So my next item I carry is, I have two different types of cordage here. Everybody knows about paracord. That's simple. This paracord, so many different uses for it. I'll be doing videos on knots and all the uses for the knots, and how this paracord ties into setting my shelters up with ridge lines. Paracord is great. Great tool, great cordage to have. I also like to carry the tarred bank line, and this is number 36 bank line, because some lashings and knots that you do, this stuff really binds down on itself and bites well, and super strong cordage. This bank line, and it comes in big rolls for not too much money. A lot of this stuff is pretty cheap. This stuff is great cordage, great for cinching down and creating shelters from sticks, being able to make natural shelters using arbor knots to tie things off. This stuff is great, so I suggest getting some bank line. Paracord is great too, so either one. Okay, I like to carry a headlamp because headlamps are hands-free light, meaning yes, you could carry a flashlight, but let's say you need both your hands to do activities for most of this stuff. So if you have the option of being able to use a simple headlamp, carry that, because now you have your hands free. You have your source of light at night over a scenario where you might be stranded for a night or two. You've got this option of light. Now, with that being said, I do tend to carry an extra set of AAA batteries for this, because yes, this will die eventually, and you want to be prepared for that. So 3 AAA batteries, not too bad, pretty cheap. I'll carry this with me, and I'll carry those AAA batteries with me too. Last but not least, because this is a very important item, I carry my Suunto MC2 compass with me all the time. My day kits, my full pack, having this compass is an important thing for me, because it is a multifunctional item, but obviously navigation-wise, it's a very important item that I like to have on me. Let's say I get lost. Now, I'm not a master in navigation, but I know enough navigation to where I can shoot a straight line with azimuths on this compass and at least navigate to something familiar. So let's say before I head out, I know that the road that I need to get to is west. I can set this compass to west and follow west on a very accurate straight line, shooting azimuths. So it's basically an escape route. So compass, definitely. I recommend the Suunto MC2. It's got multi-functions. You've got magnifying lens there, which can be used for solar ignition, another very easy method to start fire, especially when you're talking about the char material. This stuff with solar ignition and that magnifying lens, it'll light that char material very quickly. If you fine tune that pinpoint of the sun on the material, it can take seconds, and you'll have char material lit up to put into a tinder bundle ready to go. Obviously, it's got a mirror, which can be used as a signal mirror. Using the sun, flashing this mirror can signal for rescue. And self-hygiene, being able to have an option to look into this mirror. So, compass, to me, it's a very important thing that I carry with me all the time. And I recommend, looking up Corporal's Corner on YouTube or Dave Canterbury's videos about navigation. Familiarize yourself with this thing. Practice. Practice before you go out in the field. Practice at home, in your yard. Shoot azimuths. Get a feel for this compass so that when you're in a situation and you have it with you, you can use this to navigate your way out instead of being stranded. So that's basically a rundown of my day kit. There's not a whole lot to it. I try to keep it fairly simple and add a couple things in that make my life a little bit easier in case I wind up getting into a situation. Now, I'm not going to keep rambling on, and obviously I didn't talk about the haversack. You can get haversacks or just a small backpack that you call your day kit, or some people refer to it as an EDC bag, an everyday carry. Something small that keeps all these essential items together you can carry with you on a daily basis. Throw it in your vehicle. I have mine in my vehicle all the time with a lot of these bare essentials, all these bare essentials. So, I just wanted to talk to you guys about that day kit, the scout kit, something you can carry easily. So, if there's any questions, comment down below. And like I always say, guys, thank you so much for your views, your support. Please like and subscribe to this channel. I want to keep doing this. I want to keep, getting content out there so that you guys can learn stuff from this. And also, I'm trying to encourage people, nowadays, get out to the woods and don't be afraid to do it. If you get lost, have options to be able to make yourself in a better position to not be lost. So, again, thank you guys, and I will probably be posting a video soon. So, all right, I'll catch you later.